very important. In fact, it is the core to their life. The way they talk, the way they interact with others, the hobbies they choose, and the career paths they go on all depend on their personality. One's personality is usually formed during their childhood and teenage years, but may still continue to develop in adulthood. Seeing that our personalities are what makes us our own person, I'm sure we'd all like to believe that our personalities are unique. While our personalities are shaped by our own interests, our friends and family, one very important factor that tends to be forgotten is society's influence on our personalities. Due to society being a potentially large but more indirect influence on one's personality, it has inspired us as a group consisting of Jagadiswari, Vishmita, Malvisha, Seong Chow, and J. Vignesh to carry out a study to understand society's influence on an individual's personality.
Personality refers to an individual's differences in patterns of thinking, feelings, and behavior. Have you ever wondered what was behind the scenes of the making of an individual's personality? Yes, it may be filled with a flower bed, but definitely embedded with its thorns. Society plays a big role in this. Whether good or bad, it is a known fact that the personality of an individual reflects their lifestyle and the environment they were brought up in. As the quote by Dr. Steve Maraboli says, the truth of your character is expressed through the choice of your actions. We have carried out a questionnaire and published it to the public. According to our findings, we can say that the majority of them do agree that society has a strong influence on an individual's personality. This definitely has a negative and also a positive impact on an individual. If we were to look at the positive side of the society's influence on an individual personality, it could be said to have made someone even more confident of themselves. For example, you post a picture on social media of yourself and you receive many compliments from others. I'm sure this would flatter you and boost your confidence. Hence, a development of confidence occurs and you would be able to carry yourself better as a person in the future. Society also has a negative impact on an individual personality. If we were to look at it in this perspective, it is said that an individual will try their best to live up to the standards set by others and not given the space for them to grow as their own. For an instance, you attend a family gathering and meet your cousins that are doing very well in their respective universities. I am sure a topic would come up where someone is comparing you to them and how they are succeeding in their career better than you. This would definitely make an individual feel insecure about themselves and which build up stress, causing them to eventually lose confidence in themselves. In some cases, it is unavoidable because you would be trying to adapt to an unfamiliar environment and you would subconsciously change your personality. This could also be a sign of growth as you find different sides of yourself that you never knew existed. If we were to look into the Western and Eastern philosophy, we can say that they have diverse and different opinions about society's influence on an individual's personality. There are many findings on how both cultures respond to a certain situation. In the year 2011, a social study was carried out to prove the difference between their personalities. Cultural disparities in how we think about other people are deeply ingrained in our minds according to the studies into the brain waves of Caucasian and Asian individuals. Cultural distinctions are visible quite deep in the brain, refuting the idea that culture is only visible on the surface. According to earlier studies, Western thinkers are more likely to assume that someone is pleasant, whereas Eastern thinkers are more likely to take social variables into account. Psychologists claim that while everyone automatically makes assumptions about someone's mentality, Eastern thinkers go one step further and take account social aspects.
We have chosen 3 different styles of research methodology, which includes a survey, interview, and focus groups. We use Google Forms to create our very own survey so that we can use it to collect quantitative data from the general public. There are different ways used by our team to get respondents. We mainly use multiple social media apps like WhatsApp, Instagram, and mail to get people to answer the survey, going as far as directly messaging each individual and let it snowball. We also ask random people from the campus and otherwise to fill the survey. The next method we use is by conducting interview. This is for us to get qualitative data from a smaller group of people, albeit being more informative in terms of opinions and more descriptive as well. We would set out on the campus grounds or even go outside to meet random strangers to interview if they consent and agree to the said interviews. But instead of just interviewing strangers, we also interviewed our own family members and friends if they are willing to. The last method used by us are focus groups. This requires a group of consenting people to join events where we all sit together to express our concerns, rant about issues, and express our opinions. A place to blow off steam for them and data collecting for us. We have a specific set of questions that we ask for them to reply and talk about. What they say will then be recorded and used in the research.
As a summary, man needs to live in a society to interact with and benefit from other people, build relationships, and live a happy and fruitful life. Within a society, there are communities that form because of people belonging to those groups share the same value, interests, and ideas. Our personality is shaped as we continue interacting with the people in our society. If our society as a whole encourages dishonest behavior, it will eventually reflect in our personality, especially if we don't have any strong or deep-rooted values. From this social project, our group looked at how does a society influence personality of an individual. Personality has been termed as a product or outcome of socialization. Sociable interaction may change your personality, but it can't change your temperament. That is why the society has a strong influence on the personality of an individual because it can either make it or break it. Thank you, that's all from us.